Hey, this is Wayne Johnson with Anglers Habitat along with Clint Smith. We're here to give you the fishing report today, August 10th, 2011. We're going to talk about some of the great areas to go fishing. And by the way, fishing is hot.
Things have definitely picked up in our part of the state, and fishing is really, really good right now. If you get a chance to get out, definitely get out. We've survived our terrible spring that we had to deal with, and now things are picking up. To start off with, the Owyhee River. Everybody wants to know and everybody wants to go. Things are fishing decent, but the fish are getting very, very picky. In the last week, we've seen a definite increase in the intelligency of these fish. Hatches are good at best, but there's numerous different bugs. And so that's the worst part, is that the fish are eating every different bug going, and if you're not spot on your cast and on the fly you're using, then you're going to have a tough time catching fish.
You know, and with that being said, what's happening is we're educating them. And the more we educate them, the little more leader shy they go. When it gets like this, I like to go with a lighter tippet. I would go to 6X at the largest, and the fish over there pretty well, you'll be able to handle them with a 6X. Another thing I like to do is I go from the still water to the riffles to moving water, and the reason for that is, first of all, they don't see your poor cast. When you slap the water, they're not going to see it, they're not going to see you as much, and the fish are much more aggressive, they're hungry, they expend a lot of energy to stay in those riffles, so that's what I do too. Another thing too is I want to talk a little bit about hoppers.
Definitely.
I get customers in here that say, I fished hoppers all day and didn't catch anything. I get other customers come in here, I fished hoppers and the fishing was outstanding. And we had a gentleman come in this week, or last week, and said, nobody's catching fish with hoppers. Well, I was there last weekend, that's all I used was hoppers. And there's an art to using hoppers. It's just like the guy next to you that's using a woolly bugger. I'm not a big woolly bugger fan, but you know, they'll catch fish. Well, personally, I'm just not a good woolly bugger fan. I just don't strip it right. But with hoppers, you've got to fish close to the shore. Again, I like fishing moving water, but the closer to the shore, the better. That's where the hoppers are. It's very rare to see a hopper in the middle of the stream. They're always towards the shore. I always fish moving water. They're moving real well. And if you see fish breaking surface aggressively, that means they're aggressively feeding. That means they're on the take. And there was an instance where I was fishing with another gentleman, and I says, hit that fish. He cast over his second cast. He caught that aggressive feeder. As soon as he got that fish in, I saw the fish break in the water again. Another fish. I said, get that fish. And he went cast right in there. First fish got that. First cast, he got that fish. And it was hoppers both times, by the way. Close to shore.
Yep. And those fish are very rarely going to pass up the opportunity at that many calories. Mm-hmm. They cannot afford not to eat that many calories. Color has seemed to matter a little bit, but if you're in the realm of the tans and yellows, you're going to catch fish. To go along a little bit with what Wayne said, we're definitely seeing more fish close to the bank. That has to do with a little bit with what bugs they're feeding on. Also, it has to do a little bit with the color of the water. The water clarity that everybody is so-called complaining about has improved where the fish are laying. They feel more comfortable closer to the bank and in shallower water, thus giving you a better shot at those fish. So let's remember not to complain too much about the off-color water, although it is more difficult to see fish.
Definitely. But all in all, another thing too to be caution you about, the park ranger was out there checking licenses when I was out there, so be sure to stop, get that day license, get that year license, whatever you need to. Be cautious about that. Don't go over there and think you haven't been checked in 8 years, because I got checked for the first time in 8 years. So please be aware of that there are out there checking. Of course, I shouldn't say that, but for those of you that are not fishing with your licenses, I'm telling you, they were working it pretty good. So just something to keep in mind. How about let's talk South Fork of the Boise.
South Fork of the Boise continues to fish quite well. The flows are still a little bit high. We're still looking at 1,600. More and more people are venturing out to try and wade the river and are doing okay. It's still a little bit tough wading, but if you pick and choose your spots and are careful, you'll find some fish. Whitefish numbers have been really, really good, and nymphing has been picking up quite a few rainbows as well. They are somewhat big bug shy. going clear through salmon fly season, golden stone season, all that. They've seen every big bug you can think of. So be sure to kind of change it up a little bit. Maybe try a little more subtle patterns, some lower in the water patterns, or even cut back to smaller patterns, 8s and 10s. We also should see the hoppers starting anytime. So that's another good double whammy. And if you've got a boat, get it in the water, because now's the time to float it for sure.
Definitely. Another thing too is to keep in mind, if you want a little alternative, all the high mountain lakes are all open, fishing very well. When I go to a high mountain lake, you cannot go wrong with beetles.
Cannot.
Fish beetles, fish ants. You're going to catch fish. I know a particular lake in mine called Grand Lake. It's up in Sawtooth. I fished it with a little beetle. The fish were fighting fish over that beetle. Once one fish would take the beetle, the other ones wanted a little piece of the action too. So
Yep.
I was catching them at will, folks. Every cast. So plan your trip. Make sure it's either a stock lake or naturally breeding lake. You don't want to go to a lake that's, for instance, sterile. But those lakes, Pistol Lakes, are a great place to go. You'll catch a lot of fish. They're aggressive, and I won't say it's a no-brainer, but you'll definitely catch a lot of fish.
Definitely. Another fishery that we're still actually having pretty good reports from, it's starting to slow down, is Duck Valley. The reservoirs are all still somewhat open. They are seeing an increase in algae growth, which is common with the temperatures coming up, but there's still fish to be caught. If you're going to practice catch and release, remember to get those fish in the boat as quickly as possible. With the water warming up, the oxygen level in the water drops, and we'll see a higher mortality with warmer water. So definitely try and get those fish to the boat and back in the water as quickly as possible to increase that chance of survivability. So
it's a great point to make, Clint. I read a study done like the University of Rhode Island. They did a study on salmon, catch and release of salmon, different temperatures and such. When the temperature was 10 degrees warmer, the mortality rate increased like fourfold. So it's very important that you do get those fish in quick and release them quick and put as little stress on that fish as possible. I encourage you not to take the fish out of the net. If you got to take a picture, take it quick, get it back into the water. Very
Definitely.
good point. How about the Wood or Silver Creek?
Silver Creek is getting to that point now where it's very tough. Primarily morning fishery, and you're looking at really small flies. PMDs in size 22s, Tricos in size 24s and 26s. After about 11 o'clock in the morning, they're not seeing much happening, and it just is getting to be extremely tough, which is what we see a lot in August. We are in the dog days of summer. The Wood, I still haven't got very many reports from the Wood. It is down and fishable. The guys fishing attractor patterns have seemed to be doing pretty good, along with occasional hatch of pinks or PMDs in the afternoon, but those are getting to be smaller bugs and a few more sporadic hatches than normal. So.
Yeah. I called the boys today over at Three Rivers Ranch over in Warm River. Is it Warm River?
Yep.
Warm River, Idaho, and over eastern Idaho by the Henry's Fork, because I'm going fishing there right after we do this report. In fact, I'm going to go and do a float on the river. And fishing over there is outstanding. Water levels have finally got down to normal. People are catching fish, and I'm looking forward to it. They're mainly using hoppers, girdle bugs, zebra midges, red copper johns. On top, they're using, he told me something, golden stones. Still few golden stones around. And remember one thing too, which is great. Once we get into this type dog days of summer, like Clint explained, fish definitely won't pass up that calorie lunch. One thing is when it gets warm, they don't want to expend the energy. They're tired anyway. So if they can get an easy lunch, they're going to get it. And hopefully it's your lunch that they decide to take.
Perfect.
So, is there anything else I
think that
talk
pretty much
about our
covers it.
wardrobe? You're looking pretty good over there.
I try.
Yep. So anyway, thank you very much. If you have any questions, give us a call here at 454-8188. You can go on our live chat on our website. We'd be more than happy to talk fishing with you, and let's see if we can get you out there. And I just hope that your waders never go dry, because that means you're fishing a lot. So thank you.
Thank you guys very much.